How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and welcome back to our playthrough of the Rise of Rome scenario in Civilization 4 Warlords. I have been looking at the demographics in the meantime, and it looks like Hannibal is probably our biggest competitor at the moment. But with that out of the way, I also am interested in maybe attempting to take this city from the Celts, because it's going to give me access to this silver here, which is going to increase my city's happiness, which can be important for growing population rather than having to build colosseums, which is going to take a significant amount of time if I do this in all my cities. Gaining access to that resource is going to apply to every one of my cities. But of course, it also comes with the increased risk of losing it due to wars and invading barbarians. And because I'm less protected once I'm out here in Central Europe, I no longer have the Alps to protect me. But we're going to advance onwards. Game paused. Yeah. You can actually pause the game by pressing the pause key on your keyboard. You might not be aware of that key because it's so rarely used. See, Hannibal is threatening me with his trireme, so we're going to outnumber him in terms of number of triremes. We should get started with a war. Is there a settler here? No. Oh, that's interesting that Greece is not expanding with a settler. There's silver over here as well. It's funny how Rome did not get any luxury resources. I imagine that was by design. Yeah, so I was going to march around with the Praetorian there just to make sure that there were no barbarians threatening my existence. And I really kind of want to start wars early because this will drain their resources, the AI, because they'll throw it against me. So I'm thinking of just going to war against the Celts as soon as possible, really. But maybe I should take out Hannibal first. The thing is, I've pointed this out before. Hannibal does not have any easily accessible luxury resources, whereas I can get wine right here from the Celts, and I can also get silver right there. Now, granted, the wine is going to be a little bit difficult to get to because I either have to sail there or march through Greek territory, and I doubt Greece is going to be signing open borders with me anytime soon. So, yeah, I probably will have to declare war on Carthage to get that second city. It could make things sporting, though. And that's definitely more interesting than hearing me lecture conjecture for extended periods of time. Okay. We do need more galleys over here. I think I've pointed this out before because we're trying to transfer our troops across back over onto mainland Italy. Get them prepped for invasion into somewhere. Haven't fully decided yet where exactly we're going to be doing that. Did I build something here? There's a pasture built on top of this forested grassland hill. That's not right. That's evidence of somebody using the world builder to design the map, because you're not supposed to be able to put pastures on top of forested tiles or tiles that don't have resources on them, such as horses or pigs. Okay, so on this tile, I would be interested in building a mine here, but I wanted to go to this tile. Yeah, there we go. We wanted to improve that city. I'm not sure I'm actually going to get more production out of that. No, it is. It is going to give me an additional 1 hammer, because by default, we're making 3 hammers off of here. If we remove the forest, we're going to be making 2 hammers off of here. But the mine itself gives us 2 hammers back. So that's sort of like a net increase of 1 hammer. So that is a positive improvement and one we want to invest in. Here we go again with more galleys. I think I'm just going to be positioning them outside of my... Okay, outside of my capital. Here we have a catapult. It's valuable. Spearmen actually might be useful now because mounted units. But see, the thing is, even 35, 45, it's like a 10 hammer difference, and they're only useful against mounted units. Whereas I can build a Praetorian and give it a combat bonus against mounted units, and it'd probably be more effective. So I think we're just going to be sticking with Praetorians. Like, the only civilization that's really going to be it's going to be a hard counter against my Praetorians is actually Egypt and their axemen. But even then, you can use siege equipment to break that up. Okay, we got 3 triremes here. We're going to move those into position along with the galleys. You can create massive naval stacks here. There's really no limit to that. I'm just going to load some more of these units aboard. In a way, I like the fact that Civilization 5 and, you know, thereon got rid of a lot of the tediousness of naval combat. And just maneuvering, just the logistics behind how naval combat works and how you have to move units around the place using ships, because that's even more tedious, really, than even, I could move these Praetorians along with that one. It's more tedious than just simple unit stacks, because it's like a stack within a stack. I wonder if I can take that city with 3... Nah, I probably want to include a trebuchet. Where's the nearest trebuchet? I think I parked it here. Yeah, here we go. You have 2 trebuchets here. One is actually led by El Cid. He gets decent bonuses, but still not that great. Like, there's a 70% chance of me winning or withdrawing, and that's against an archer. So, not the hottest odds. I think we're going to be moving him. We're going to be using him in our European campaign, I think. So we're going to grab 2 of these trebuchets. I have convinced myself, I've talked myself into it. We are actually going to be invading the land of the Celts. And you catapult can go in galley. There we go. Is everybody loaded up here? Yes, indeed. We've almost got all of our units back across from Greece. But these Praetorians can fortify for now. I'm going to leave one here, positioned on top of that hill, in case barbarians bother me, but this other one can definitely join the campaign. And yeah, we also had this Praetorian joining the campaign as well, so I think that should be enough to take this city. That would be 1, 2, 3, maybe want to go 4 Praetorians, 2 trebuchets. I think that's a decent number. So we're going to be sticking with that. And then the rest of our force is going to be concentrating on Hannibal. Okay, so we're going to be fighting on 2 fronts at once, I think. We're going to see how it works out. And, there's no guarantee that I'm going to actually win this scenario. Just want to make that clear from the outset. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered playing it if it was already predetermined. Okay, we have a mine here. If we build the mine first, see, if we chop down the forest, it'll be removed in 3 turns. That will speed along the construction of the Colosseum. If we build the mine, it will take 7 turns. It will remove the forest when the mine is complete and also put down a mine in its place. So I think we're going to chop the forest, even though we are working it currently. Chopping the forest will probably immediately complete our Colosseum and allow us to focus on other stuff. And then we can build the mine at a reduced number of turns, probably 4 turns. And I'm not even sure where I was going with that. 4 turns. Well, yeah, it won't have to work that tile, obviously, but I wish I could have formulated my thoughts there a little bit better on that one. When I looked at this archer, where are my trebuchets, by the way? El Cid, where are you? Was it 50% amphibious? No, this was discounting any amphibious assault. So we're going to be landing on this hill here. And no, we don't have very hot odds even against those archers. There's only 1 archer there, so right now it's not a big deal. But let's get El Cid moving. We're currently losing 1 gold per turn. I don't like how many catapults I have. Like, they're not that useful with what I'm doing currently. And having them sleep there is essentially wasting my gold. Why can't you jump aboard? Oh, everybody's aboard already. Okay. Let's deposit them as soon as possible. Now, there is an issue for me with Civilization 4, And that is, you can't grab the map to zoom around. I personally like left clicking to grab the map and zooming around rather than ridiculous edge scrolling. And you can't do that in Civilization 4, much to my dismay. So that's why you'll see me mousing to the corners of the map. Now, obviously, I could use the directional keys, and maybe I will do that. But it's a little bit slow. Okay, we're going to try it. I'm going to try it. I mean, obviously, you have no input really on the matter. I mean, you could mention it to me, but while I'm actually playing the game, you don't have any input. And that's sort of the point I was making. Well, we have a third galley here. Unfortunately, it came along a little bit too late, but it will be a great asset in our actual campaign against Carthage, I believe. We have our borders expanding here in some city that I don't know how to pronounce its name. That's always a thing. I should stick with English-speaking civs, I suppose. Fortunately, that's never to be found in the ancient world. Blah, 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 blah. We got catapults again. Like I said, I don't like the catapults. They're not that useful for what I'm doing. They're for stacks that are outside of cities, but they can still come in useful for bombardment, so not a complete loss, really. Didn't fully consider that, like, trebuchets might be most effective at actual... Let's just sleep these triremes here. Trebuchets best at actual attacking cities, but catapults can be efficient at bombarding them, although I do believe they do it at a lesser rate. Let's take a look here at their stats, unit speed. Looking for T, it's trebuchet. They bombard 25% per turn, and catapults bombard, 15%. So yes, all in all, if you're attacking a city, you probably will want a trebuchet. Yeah. Okay, so what that means to me, catapults are excellent at like a local defense force. So in other words, like your defensive stack, the stack you keep around your territory to defend yourself from your attackers, whereas the trebuchets are a more aggressive unit that are mostly used in the context of an attack against a foreign civilization. So we're going to be moving those galleys into position, and I think I want more trebuchets because of that. I do want to build barracks. I kind of want to build them because we're building so many units, and it's such a waste if I don't. The courthouse here is finished, and as you can see, pretty drastically reduces maintenance, and we're up to 5 gold per turn now, which means we can definitely afford either more units or a higher rate of research. When we're looking at the actual productivity, though, here, this city is not very happy. They want to join their motherland, and they just don't have many good resources. Now, what we want to do here is starve those people to death. Unfortunately, there are not a whole lot of productive tiles to work here, but we do have a couple of cottages we could work, and that's going to be better than working this fish tile, although in the short term, we'd lose out on that 1 gold. But I think we should work on building up these cottages, and we're going to starve those unhappy peasants out of the city. I'm that ruthless. I'm that bitter. Okay, what would I like to build in this city? I didn't choose anything to build, right. Okay, be back with you in a minute. After much deliberation, we've decided on a Colosseum. How are we looking here? Not bad maintenance, really. Colosseum, everybody's happy, we're growing. Everything looks good. I mentioned the trebuchets. We're going to be building a trebuchet there. Okay, it's been 10 turns already since we made peace with Greece. And that rhymes. Unintentionally, of course. We have too unhappy population in the city because it's too crowded. I think we're going to be moving one of these citizens over to something more productive. City stagnates, and then maybe we can work on a Colosseum next. Improvements are quite critical to ensuring that our cities are productive. Loading our Praetorians and whatnot into those galleys as the opportunity arises. Let's move trireme into the stack. We have not improved that fish resource after it was pillaged by Greece. Trireme in a galley by Hannibal. Yeah, as you can see, our chopping worked quite excellently here. Our worker finished chopping down the forest that was on this hill, and the Colosseum will now be done in 1 turn, although we're making less hammers, or fewer hammers than we were before. But that was sort of the objective, was to get the city happy as quickly as possible. Not really worrying about like losing out a hammer for a couple turns. Obviously, if we have an unhappy population, they're easily losing out on hammers per turn. Just having that citizen take up the citizen slot, right here is going to give us +1 hammer. So that loss of 1 hammer is not a big deal when you compare it to gaining a happy populace. A happy point of populace. Now, this is a very productive city, as I've mentioned before, and I'm very tempted to go ahead and build the heroic epic here, because this could be a city that we really use to pump out a lot of military units. So I think we're going to invest a bit long-term here. We do have a barracks already built, so that means already we have an excellent city for producing units and very productive. It's the most productive city I have, and they have a barracks for the additional experience, no additional construction required, and in 10 turns already have the double production speed with marble. We will complete the heroic epic. Now the heroic epic is a national, they call that a national wonder, which means you can only build 1 per civilization, but each civilization has the ability to build 1. This is in contrast mostly to world wonders, in which only 1 can be built per world, not per civilization. So we're going to be building the heroic epic in there to use this. We're going to use this as our city that pretty much produces the majority of our military units. It's going to have high rates of productivity, and that is important when we're actually competing against the AI. We need every advantage we can get, especially at these higher difficulty levels. We have completed another Praetorian. Let's get him into Rome. And I think this Praetorian here is going to be stationed right on top of that forested hill to make sure that it's a little bit more difficult for an enemy to occupy that territory. Let's build a mine on this tile. And we have completed our next worker. Now, I am personally in favor of getting him all the way down over here to improve that tile with a mine. So now we have 3 workers, I believe. Or is it only 2? I'm pretty sure we have 3 workers. We can easily check that by looking at the military advisor. The military advisor also shows domestic units, such as workers. And yes, you can see 1 worker is here, 1 here, and 1 there. So we have a total of 3 workers now, which I think is a pretty decent balance for the size of our civilization. And we are going to load some of these catapults up. Like that one had the bombard promotion, so I'm definitely down with using it. This one has city attack promotions. We should probably just bring that one along and kill it, because city attack promotions on a catapult, not very useful. They might have been useful at the very beginning of the game when I still didn't have a very good selection, but yeah, you really don't. City attack promotions on a catapult, it's much more effective to have them on a trebuchet. Trained a Praetorian in this city. I am tempted to build a barracks since we're not at war, but Praetorian, maybe I should just have the city set up to automatically produce it time after time. Okay, now in this city, I think we were talking about this. We have unhappy population here, and we're going to remove the fish one. This will starve out a couple of them, and then yeah, we can afford to lose 2 population here. There's no sense in paying the upkeep for these people if they're just going to be unhappy. In the meantime, we can focus on a Colosseum, but it's going to take quite a few turns. I'm not sure about that. So basically, it's looking like a lot of trebuchets and a lot of Praetorians are on the list to be built. So this city is happy now with the Colosseum, but it's costing me a fair bit in maintenance. I might want to consider a courthouse. We can chop half of it, and I don't want it to focus on production. Focus on gold here. That's interesting. If I focus on gold, it's going to grow too fast, and it's going to be unhappy again. Second thought, do your own thing. It's actually the smarter decision there. Almost all of our units are in position here to declare war on the Celts. Let's chop this forest. It'll take 3 turns. And by that time, these workers will have built the mine. Let's set this unit to sentry. Sentry ensures that if any enemy units get within line of sight, that it will activate and ask me for orders again. Very, very close. Okay, our next war is about to begin. Let's advance with Elstead himself. Wait, I just want out of curiosity, maybe he will trade it to me. No, he will not trade it to me, and he will not sign open borders. And he's furious, yeah, okay. you're not interested in negotiating anyway. Let's see if we can do any damage to him. Potentially take that city. That's the objective here. I wonder if anybody liked him. Greece was cautious towards him. But no, I'm not suffering any diplomatic penalties for declaring war on him in this scenario. As you can see, we have a ton of catapults in this city. And I'm really not interested in that many catapults. Put everything to sleep here for now. We're going to be bringing up 2 more galleys shortly, so then we'll have an additional forest space to move those units into. Out of curiosity, what happens when we adopt no religion? There's really no bonus to that. So, wait, paganism. With paganism, we would get +2 health in every city, and on an additional +1 food from farm, mine, pasture, camp, hamlet, and village. That would be tempting if we weren't already just flush with food to begin with. Like if we existed in a bit more arid regions, the paganism civic might actually be a reasonable choice. But in my case, we have plenty of food in pretty much all of our cities, so I don't see that being a positive improvement over our current civic of theocracy, which gives us additional experience and gives our units without that are built in cities without barracks just their initial promotion even. Galleys in place. Let's see, what are our current composition? We're looking at a lot of catapults and a few Praetorians. So I'm going to get both of these trebuchets in there first, and then the rest of it's going to be Praetorians if I have the space. So you can easily tell which units are loaded because they space them out accordingly, the galleys anyway. We can store 1 more unit in the stack, and that unit actually might be this Praetorian, which will be done next turn. So let's grab all of the galleys. We're going to move them 1 to that tile. That way next turn they'll be within range to move directly onto there. Okay, now there's a nice little river here that's protecting this city. As you can see, rivers on both sides of the city, but we can hopefully get access to that hill right there. And that's what our objective is going to be. That way we don't suffer the aquatic penalty, for attacking across the river. This mine is done. Oh yes. Nicely working those hammers. And 1 last galley. They move into position there. Okay. Move this Praetorian in. And I think next turn we're ready for a war with Carthage already. It's rather interesting. Carthage has already built a galley. Not too significant. I might want to get my triremes over here before I declare war on him. I think that's what we're going to build next. I want to have like 2 fleets of triremes. 1 to defend my galleys and the other one to actually patrol my own waters. We removed we removed a forest from this tile here, which means it's not as productive anymore, but we're going to be adding a mine to it, which is going to make it more productive than the forest ever was. This is an interesting city because it's not growing very fast, but it is currently at its, popularity cap. So there are probably better cities for me to improve. Yeah, definitely. This city needs a worker to help improve it. That city's good. That city's good. 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 For the most part. As a matter of fact, this city needs to starve. I hate to say it, but you're going to be starving. Enjoy. This city, Delphi, 3. We're growing in 3 turns. We don't need that. Let's focus on... We can focus on the sheep instead. That'll give us a hammer instead of the additional commerce, and it'll help speed along the construction of the Colosseum, which will give us the happiness we need. Okay, we can stop building culture in here. We don't... This maintenance is pretty reasonable here, as a matter of fact. We're currently stagnant. This city is not that great. I want to build a courthouse here, but yeah, for that price, we really don't need it. We have a lighthouse and a granary. I think I want to steal a tile from another city in this one. Let's steal this hill and work that to starve a couple of population. Each population requires 2 food. And we're going to be building a coliseum here probably. I think the happiness is more important than the maintenance reduction. Build a road on that tile. Road spam can be an issue in Civilization 4 because there's essentially no tile you shouldn't build it on. Let's move our units a little bit closer and onto that hill. Hopefully I can get there before he occupies it. We wanted to build triremes here. I don't think we have like a dry docks or anything in this scenario, which gives our units, our water units, additional promotions. Let's take a look at that though once. Buildings, here we go. A harbor, but that only gives us additional trade. Nope, there is no building that increases the production or experience for water-based units. Egypt has been capturing independent states. Look at that. They lost a city. Egypt is pretty big. You have only 4 triremes here, which means I want to keep them with my galleys. Where do we want to invade Carthage? I am partial to taking it island by island, essentially island hopping here. So if we go to island, 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 then we have it cleared all the way up to Carthage. I'm tempted to do that. Are we now the founding city of the Greek religion? I believe we are. Sure looks that way anyway. Sure looks like that anyway. 1. I think this is the turn we declare war on Carthage. Now, the worst damage Carthage can do to me is by sailing around over here and pillaging my fish resources, which overall is not that big of a threat, I don't think. You can't blockade in this game, as far as I'm aware. That was introduced in Civilization 4 Beyond the Sword. And blockading essentially allowed you to deny access to all the water tiles within the blockade radius. Whereas, usually before that, Civilization 4 Vanilla and Civilization 4 Warlords, you could only blockade a tile by physically occupying it. So, with that in consideration, I don't think there's a whole lot of damage that the Carthaginian Empire can do to my economy just by sailing their boats around and pillaging my fish resources. Obviously, I'm going to lose some health for that, but if I'm correct, we're pretty much... none of our cities are struggling or wanting for more health, so that's not going to affect us at all. I think as a send-off for this episode, because we are at 30 minutes, we're going to leave you on a cliffhanger here and declare war. So there you go. We're losing 5 gold per turn now, and we've officially declared war. Also, let's move these units, the El Cid army, onto this tile right above this Celtish city, and we'll begin the assault next turn. So we're at 32 minutes at the moment. I think that pretty much does it for this episode. We declared 2 new wars, and we're a lot of logistical maneuvering involved, but overall, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic we can handle this additional burden. So thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.